Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, watching the stars through the main window. The ship had been traveling for 3 months now, deeper into space than any human had ever gone before. Earth was just a tiny dot behind them, so far away it could not be seen anymore. "Captain, we're getting something strange on the sensors," said Lieutenant Kate Sullivan from her station. She was the ship's best officer, smart and brave. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. As she tried to understand what they were seeing, Jake walked over to look at her screen. The numbers and lines meant nothing to most people, but he had been in space for 15 years. He knew how to read these displays. What he saw made him frown. "What is it, Kate?" "There's a ship out there, sir, but it's not moving. It's just floating. In space about 2 kilometers away. The design is nothing like our ships or anything we've ever seen before." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This could be it. The moment humanity had been waiting for. First contact with another species from the stars. "Are you sure it's a ship?" he asked. "Yes, sir." "It's big, maybe 3 times the size of our ship, but there's something wrong with it. The power readings are very low, almost like it's dying." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. Dr. Ben Rodriguez was checking the medical scanners. Engineer Lisa Parker was working on the ship's systems. Communications Officer Tom Bradley was trying to pick up any signals from the strange ship. "Tom? Are you getting anything from them?" "No, sir." "No radio signals, no messages, nothing. If there's anyone alive over there, they're not talking." Jake made his decision. This was why they had come so far from Earth, to explore, to find new life, to represent humanity among the stars. "Kate, I want you to take a team over there. Full environmental suits. Take Ben and Lisa with you. Be careful. But we need to know what we're dealing with." "Yes, sir." Kate stood up from her station. She was nervous but excited. This could be the most important mission of her life. The team prepared quickly. They put on their thick space suits that would protect them from the cold and emptiness of space. They checked their air supplies and their tools. Jake watched them get ready, hoping he was making the right choice. "Remember," he told them before they left, "we don't know what's over there. Stay together. Stay in contact with the ship. If anything seems dangerous, come back immediately." The small shuttle carried Kate and her team across the empty space between the 2 ships. As they got closer, they could see the alien ship more clearly. It was beautiful in a strange way. The surface was smooth and curved, not like the straight lines and sharp angles of human ships. It looked almost alive, like it had grown instead of being built. "It's incredible," Lisa whispered over the radio. "The metal, if it is metal, seems to have patterns in it, like veins or something." They found an opening in the side of the ship that looked like it might be a door. Kate used her scanner to check for air and pressure inside. The readings were confusing. "There's some kind of atmosphere in there," she reported back to Jake. "But it's not oxygen. The pressure is different too." "Can you get inside safely?" "I think so. Our suits should protect us." The door opened with a soft hiss. Inside, the ship was even more strange. The walls curved and twisted in ways that hurt. To look at, there were lights, but they were dim and flickering. The air seemed to shimmer sometimes, like heat waves. "This place gives me the creeps," Ben said. He was the ship's doctor, more used to helping people than exploring alien ships. They moved slowly through the corridors. Everything was quiet except for the sound of their own breathing inside their helmets. Their flashlights cast dancing shadows. "On the walls! Kate, look at this!" Lisa called out. She was standing in front of what looked like a control panel. But instead of buttons and switches, it had smooth surfaces that glowed softly when she touched them. "Don't touch anything," warned. "We don't know what any of this does." They kept exploring. The ship was huge inside, with rooms and passages that seemed to go on forever. In some places, the walls were covered with symbols that meant nothing to them. In others, there were windows that showed the stars outside. Then they found the central chamber. It was a large, round room with a high ceiling. In the center was something that looked like a throne or a command chair. And lying on the floor next to it was a figure in a strange suit. "Jake, we found someone," Kate said into her radio. "It looks like they're hurt." The figure was clearly not human. The suit they wore had extra arms and strange attachments that no human would need, but they were about the same size as a person. Kate could see that they were breathing, but very slowly and with difficulty. "Are they alive?" Jake's voice crackled through the radio. "Barely, Ben. Can you check them?" Ben knelt down next to the alien figure. He ran his medical scanner over them, but the readings were all wrong. The heart rate was too slow, the body temperature too low. Whatever this being was, they were dying. "We need to get them back to our ship," Ben said. "I can't help them here." Kate looked around the chamber. There were more control panels here, more of the strange symbols. This had to be the ship's command center. And this dying being had probably been the captain. "Carefully," she said. "We don't know if moving them will make things worse." They lifted the alien figure as gently as they could. The suit they wore was heavy and made of materials that felt strange to touch. As they carried them toward the shuttle, Kate noticed something else. The alien's helmet was not see-through like theirs. It was solid, covering their entire face and head. "Whatever they look like," Lisa said quietly, "they don't want us to see." The trip back to the horizon's edge seemed to take forever. The aliens' breathing got weaker and weaker. Ben kept checking his scanner, but the readings just got worse. "Hang on," Kate whispered, even though she knew the alien probably could not understand her. "We're going to help you." Once they were back on their ship, they rushed the alien to the medical bay. Dr. Rodriguez had prepared everything he could think of, but he had never treated an alien before. No human had. Jake came down to see their visitor. The alien was lying on a medical bed, still in their strange suit. The helmet covered their face completely, making them look mysterious and frightening. "Can you help them?" Jake asked. "I don't know," Ben admitted. "Their biology is completely different from ours. I'm not even sure what they breathe or what kind of medicine they might need." As they watched, the alien's hand moved slightly. They were trying to point at something. Their breathing became more labored, like they were trying to speak. "They're trying to tell us something," Kate said. Jake leaned closer. The alien's hand was pointing at their own helmet, touching it weakly. They seemed to be trying to remove it, but they were too weak. "No, don't," Ben said quickly. That helmet might be the only thing keeping them alive. But the alien kept trying, their movements becoming more desperate. They were dying, and they knew it. And they wanted to tell them something before it was too late. Jake looked at his crew. They were all thinking the same thing. This was first contact, the first time humans had met another intelligent species. And it was happening as that being was dying in their medical bay. "We need to find a way to communicate with them," Jake said. "If they're trying to tell us something, we need to listen." The alien's hand fell back to their side. Their breathing became even weaker. Time was running out, and they all knew it. 3 hours had passed since they brought the alien aboard. Dr. Ben Rodriguez had tried everything he could think of, but nothing seemed to help. The alien's breathing was getting weaker, and their body temperature kept dropping. "This is impossible," Ben said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "I've given them oxygen, tried different medicines, even changed the air pressure in the room. Nothing works." Jake stood by the medical bed, watching the alien struggle for each breath. The strange suit they wore still covered their entire body. The helmet was smooth and dark, giving no hint of what the being inside looked like. "Maybe their biology is too different from ours," suggested Lisa Parker. She had been studying the alien suit, trying to understand how it worked. "Look at these readings. Their body isn't made of the same stuff we are." Kate Sullivan had been quiet for the past hour, just watching the alien. She noticed that every few minutes the alien would move their hand toward their helmet, then let it fall back down. "They keep trying to touch their helmet," she said. "Maybe it's hurting them somehow. Or maybe it's the only thing keeping them alive," Ben replied. "We don't know what they breathe or what their world is like. That helmet might be their life." "Support." The alien's hand moved again, this time more weakly than before. They seemed to be trying to draw something in the air with their finger. Jake leaned closer to see. Are they trying to communicate? He asked. I think so, Kate said. Look, they're making the same shape over and over. The alien's finger traced what looked like a circle, then a line, then something that might have been a triangle. They repeated the pattern 3 times before their hand fell back to their side. Lisa, can you record this? Maybe we can figure out what they're trying to tell us. Lisa quickly set up a camera to watch the alien's movements. For the next hour, the alien continued to make shapes in the air whenever they had the strength. Sometimes they drew numbers, sometimes geometric patterns, sometimes things that look like star maps. They're trying to teach us their language. Lisa realized, look, they keep repeating the same symbols. This one might mean ship, and this one might mean danger. The aliens seemed to understand that they were paying attention. Their movements became more urgent, more desperate. They pointed at themselves, then at the stars visible through the medical bay window, then back at themselves. They're not from around here, Jake said. They came from somewhere else. Suddenly, the alien's hand shot up and grabbed Jake's wrist. Their grip was surprisingly strong for someone who was dying. Through the suit's glove, Jake could feel that their hand was different from a human hand. It felt like there were too many fingers and they were too long. The alien pulled Jake's hand toward their helmet. They were trying to make him touch it, trying to make him understand something about it. They want us to take it off, Kate said. They keep trying to remove their helmet. That could kill them, Ben warned. We don't know what they breathe. But the alien kept pulling at Jake's hand, their movements becoming more frantic. They were trying to tell them something important, and they were running out of time. Wait, Lisa said suddenly. I think I understand something. Look at their suit. She pointed to small lights on the alien's chest piece. The lights had been glowing steadily when they first brought the alien aboard, but now they were flickering. Those lights might show how much power the suit has left, she continued, and they're getting dimmer. Maybe the suit is what's killing them, not keeping them alive. Jake looked at the alien's helmet again. If Lisa was right, then the helmet wasn't helping the alien breathe. It was slowly poisoning them. Ben, is there any way to tell if the helmet is hurting them? Ben checked his medical scanner again. The readings are strange. There's some kind of energy coming from the helmet. It's affecting their brain somehow. The alien's grip on Jake's wrist tightened. They were trying to nod, even though the heavy helmet made it hard to move their head. They understand us, Kate said in amazement. They know what we're saying. The alien let go of Jake's wrist and began drawing in the air again. This time the symbols were different. They drew what looked like a face, then pointed to their helmet, then made an X shape with their fingers. Helmet bad? Jake said out loud. Is that what you're trying to tell us? The alien nodded as much as they could. Then they drew more symbols. A ship, an arrow pointing away from their chest, and then multiple small shapes that might have been other ships. They're trying to warn us about something, Lisa realized. Something about ships. The alien grew more agitated. They pointed at the window, at the stars, then at their own ship. Their breathing became even more labored as they tried to communicate faster. Slow down, Jake said gently. We're trying to understand. But the alien couldn't slow down. They were dying and they knew it. Whatever they were trying to tell the humans was more important than their own life. They drew a large circle, then filled it with smaller shapes. Then they drew arrows pointing from the circle toward where Earth would be. Finally, they drew an X over everything. Danger coming to Earth, Kate whispered. That's what they're trying to say. The alien nodded again, more desperately this time. They pointed to their helmet again, then made a gesture like they were removing it. They wanted to take off their helmet so they can tell us more, Jake realized. But if Ben is right, removing it might kill them faster. The alien seemed to understand the problem. They touched their chest, where their heart would be, then pointed to their helmet. Then they made a gesture that looked like breaking or destroying. They're saying the helmet is breaking their heart, Ben said. Or their equivalent of a heart, the alien nodded vigorously. Then they did something that surprised everyone. They reached up and started trying to unlock their helmet themselves. Stop, Ben said, reaching for their hands. "Let me help you." But the alien pushed his hands away. They wanted to do this themselves. Their fingers found hidden clasps and switches on the helmet that the humans had not noticed. "If we let them remove the helmet, they might die," Ben said to Jake. "But if we don't, they're going to die anyway." Jake looked at the alien, who had stopped trying to remove the helmet and was waiting for his decision. Somehow, he knew that this being was asking for his trust. They were willing to risk their life to tell the humans something important. "It's their choice," Jake said finally. "If they want to remove the helmet, we should let them." The alien seemed to understand. They reached up to their helmet again, but this time their movements were slower, more careful. They looked at each of the humans as if trying to memorize their faces, then they began to unlock the helmet. The first clasp came free with a soft click. The alien paused, breathing heavily. The second clasp was harder to reach, but they managed it. With each clasp that came free, the alien's breathing seemed to get a little easier. The helmet was restricting their breathing, Ben realized. It was never meant to help them. It was hurting them. The alien had 4 more clasps to go. Their hands were shaking now, either from weakness or from fear. They looked at Jake again, and somehow he knew what they wanted. "Do you want me to help you?" he asked. The alien nodded. Jake reached for the helmet clasps. His hands were shaking too. In a few moments, he would see the face of the first alien that humanity had ever encountered. And that alien was dying in his arms, trusting him with their life. "Are you ready?" he asked. The alien nodded one last time, then whispered something in their own language. It sounded like a prayer, or maybe a goodbye. Jake began to unlock the final clasps of the helmet. Jake's hands moved slowly to the last clasp on the alien's helmet. The metal felt warm under his fingers, and he could hear a soft humming sound coming from inside. The alien lay still, watching him through the dark faceplate. "Here we go, Jake," whispered. The final clasp opened with a loud click. Immediately, the helmet's humming stopped. The alien took a deep breath, the first real breath they had taken since coming aboard the human ship. Jake carefully lifted the helmet away from the alien's head. What he saw made him step back in surprise, but not in fear. The alien's face was beautiful in a way he had never seen before. Her skin was pale blue, almost like moonlight. Her eyes were large and silver, with no pupils that he could see. Her face was longer than a human face, with high cheekbones and a small nose. She had no hair, but there were delicate patterns on her scalp that looked like they were made of light. "She's beautiful," Kate whispered. The alien woman heard Kate's words and turned her head slightly. When she spoke, her voice was soft but clear. To everyone's amazement, she spoke in English, though her accent was strange and musical. "Thank you," she said. "I thought I would die before I could warn you." Jake knelt down beside the medical bed. "You can speak our language? My people have been watching your world for a long time. We learned your languages, your customs, your ways of thinking. We wanted to understand you before we made contact." Dr. Ben Rodriguez quickly checked his scanner. "Her vital signs are getting better." Removing the helmet helped. The alien woman smiled weakly. "The helmet was designed to change my appearance, to make me look more like you, but it was also slowly killing me. My body was not meant to wear it for so long." "Why did you need to look like us?" Lisa asked. "Because I was coming to your world to warn you about something terrible. I thought if I looked more human, you would trust me more quickly. But my ship was damaged, and I had to use the helmet for too many days." She tried to sit up, but her strength was still very weak. Jake helped her, supporting her back with his arm. She felt lighter than a human, as if her bones were hollow like a bird's. "What is your name?" Jake asked. "You can call me Vera. It is close to my real name, but easier for you to say." "I'm Jake Morrison, captain of this ship. What did you want to warn us about?" Vera's silver eyes grew wide with fear. "The Devourers, they are coming to your solar system. They have already destroyed 12 worlds in this part of the galaxy." "Devourers?" Kate asked. "What are they?" "They are like locusts, but they eat life itself. They travel in huge fleets. And when they find a world with life, they drain it completely. Every plant, every animal, every thinking being. They leave nothing behind but dead rocks floating in space. The medical bay became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about Earth, about their families and friends, about the billions of people who had no idea what was coming. How long do we have? Jake asked. 6 months, maybe 7. Their scout ships are already at the edge of your solar system. They are studying your defenses, learning about your technology. Ben checked his scanner again. Vera, you need to rest. You're still very weak. No, she said firmly. There is no time to rest. I must tell you everything while I still can. She pointed toward the window in the direction of her ship. On my ship, there is a weapon. It is the only thing that can destroy a devourer hive. Ship, but it requires something that only my people can provide. What kind of weapon? Lisa asked. It uses the life force of a dying member of my species to power itself. When one of us dies, our life energy can be converted into a weapon that can break through the devourer's shields. Jake felt his heart sink. You're saying you have to die to make the weapon work? Yes, that is why I came alone. I knew this might be a one-way journey. Kate shook her head. There has to be another way. Can't we save you and find some other way to power the weapon? Vera smiled sadly. My people have been fighting the devourers for 300 years. We have tried everything. This is the only way that works. She reached into a pocket on her suit and pulled out a small crystal device. It glowed with soft blue light, the same color as her skin. This is a translation device. It will help you understand the technology on my ship. But more importantly, it contains the location of something. Else, what? Jake asked. The coordinates of the last free world in this part of the galaxy. My people are hiding there along with refugees from other worlds the devourers have attacked. If Earth survives, if you can stop the devourers here, then you can help us fight back. She pressed the crystal into Jake's hand. It felt warm and seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Your species is different from the others the devourers have attacked, Vera continued. Most civilizations give up when they realize how powerful the devourers are, but humans fight. Even when there is no hope, you keep fighting. How do you know that? Kate asked. We have been watching your world for 50 years. We saw your wars, your struggles, your refusal to surrender even when everything seemed lost. We saw humans sacrifice themselves to save others again and again. Vera's breathing became more labored. The effort of talking was tiring her out. That is why I chose to come to your world instead of others. The devourers have never faced a species like yours. They expect their enemies to run or hide or beg for mercy, but you will fight them, even if it means dying. Ben checked his scanner again and frowned. Her energy levels are dropping. Whatever that helmet did to her, the damage is getting worse. How much time do I have? Vera asked. Maybe a few hours, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to help you. Your biology is too different from ours. Vera nodded as if she had expected this answer. Then we must work quickly. Jake, I need you to take me back to my ship. There are things I must show you, things you must understand before I die. You're too weak to travel, Ben protested. I am dying anyway. It is better to die doing something useful than to die lying in a bed. Jake looked at his crew. They all knew she was right. If Vera only had a few hours left, they needed to learn everything they could from her. Okay, he said. But we do this carefully. Ben, you come with us. If something goes wrong, I want you there. Vera smiled. Thank you. But first there is something else you must know about the weapon. She paused, gathering her strength for what she was about to say. The weapon will only work once. After it destroys the Devourer hive ship, it will be gone forever. And the Devourers will know that. Someone has the technology to fight them. They will send more ships, bigger fleets. So we get one chance, Jake said. Yes, one chance to show them that Earth will not be easy to conquer. If you can destroy their first wave, if you can make them pay a terrible price for attacking your world, then maybe they will decide to look for easier targets. She closed her silver eyes for a moment, then opened them again. But you must be ready to fight for a long time. The Devourers do not give up easily. They will keep coming until either they are all dead or your world is. Jake squeezed her hand. Gently, then we'd better make sure we're ready. Vera squeezed back, her grip stronger than he expected. I knew I chose the right species, she whispered. Now, let us go to my ship. There is much to learn, and so little time. Jake helped Vera into a wheelchair that Dr. Ben Rodriguez had brought from the medical bay. She was too weak to walk, but her silver eyes were still bright with determination. The small crystal device she had given him glowed softly in his pocket. You sure you can do this? Ben asked, checking his portable scanner one more time. I have to, Vera replied. The weapon system on my ship is very complex. If I die before showing you how to use it, the knowledge dies with me. Kate Sullivan and Lisa Parker joined them in the shuttle bay. They would all go to Vera's ship together. Jake wanted his best people to see everything, to learn everything they could in the time they had left. The shuttle ride to the alien ship was quiet. Vera sat with her eyes closed, saving her strength for what was to come. Jake watched her pale blue skin grow even paler as her life force continued to fade. How long have your people been running from the Devourers? Kate asked softly. Vera opened her eyes. 300 years. We used to have a great civilization. Beautiful cities, advanced technology, art, and music that could make you cry with joy. Now we live in hidden places, moving from world to world, always one step ahead of death. How? Many of your people are left? Lisa asked. Maybe 10,000. There used to be billions of us. The Devourers have taken everything else. The shuttle docked with the alien ship. Jake helped Vera out of her wheelchair and supported her as they walked through the strange corridors. The ship seemed different now, less frightening and more sad. It was like walking through a tomb. This way, Vera said, leading them deeper into the ship. The weapon is in the core chamber. They passed through rooms filled with strange technology. Some of the devices were still working, their lights blinking slowly in the dim air. Others were dark and silent, broken by whatever had damaged the ship. What happened to your ship? Ben asked. Devourer patrol found me 3 days ago. I managed to escape, but they damaged my engines. I've been drifting toward your solar system ever since, hoping to reach Earth before I died. The core chamber was at the very center of the ship. It was a large, round room with a high ceiling. In the center stood a device that looked like a cross between a tree and a machine. Its trunk was made of the same smooth metal as the ship, but its branches were crystal that pulsed with soft light. That is the weapon, Vera said. We call it the life tree. Jake stared at the device. It was beautiful, but he could sense the power inside it. It felt dangerous, like standing next to a bomb that could go off at any moment. How does it work? Lisa asked. Vera walked slowly to the base of the tree. There was a small platform there, just the right size for one person to lie down on. When one of my people dies, their life energy does not just disappear. It becomes something else, something that can be used. The life tree captures that energy and focuses it into a weapon beam. And this can destroy a Devourer hive ship? Jake asked. Yes, the Devourers use living energy to power their ships. When the life tree fires, it disrupts that energy. The hive ship tears itself apart from the inside. Kate walked around the device, studying it carefully. But you said it only works once? The process uses up all the life energy at once. After that, the tree becomes just metal and crystal again. It cannot be recharged. Ben was scanning the device with his medical equipment. I'm getting readings I've never seen before. This thing is connected to biological systems somehow. Yes, Vera said. It reads the life force of the dying person. It learns their genetic pattern, their memories, their emotions. All of that becomes part of the weapon. She sat down on the platform, her legs no longer able to support her weight. But there is something else you must know. The weapon will only work if the person dying chooses to give their life willingly. It cannot be forced. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. You're saying you have to choose to die? I am already dying, Vera said simply. The helmet damaged. My brain, even if you could fix it, I would not live more than a few days. But if I die here, connected to the life tree, my death can save your world. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what she had said. This alien woman, who had never even seen Earth, was willing to die to save a planet full of strangers. Why? Jake asked. Why would you do this for us? Vera smiled, and for a moment she looked almost human. Because your species gives me hope. In 300 years of running from the Devourers, we have seen many civilizations fall. Some fought bravely, but they fought alone. They did not trust each other, did not work together. She pointed to Jake and his crew. But you are different. You found me, a strange alien on a dying ship, and you tried to save me. You risked your lives to help someone you had never seen before. That is why I believe you can do what my people could not. Lisa was studying the control panels around the life tree. How do we aim this thing? How do we know when the Devourers are coming? The weapon has a range of about 1 light year. When the Devourer hive ship enters your solar system, you will be able to target it from here. But you must be careful. You will only get 1 shot. She reached into another pocket of her suit and pulled out a small data pad. This contains everything my people have learned about the Devourers. Their ship designs, their weapons, their tactics. Study it carefully. Jake took the data pad. It was warm to the touch like everything else Vera had given them. What about after we destroy the hive ship? You said they would send more. Yes, but it will take them time to organize another attack. Maybe a year, maybe 2. Use that time to prepare. Build more ships, train more soldiers, warn other worlds. She lay back on the platform, her pale blue skin almost glowing in the light from the crystal branches above her. There's one more thing. The coordinates I gave you for the last free world. If you survive the first attack, go there. My people will be waiting. Waiting for what? Kate asked. To learn from you, to see how you defeated the Devourers. Maybe together we can take back what they have stolen from us. Ben checked his scanner again. Her life signs are getting very weak. We don't have much time, Vera nodded. I can feel it. The end is coming. She looked at Jake. When I die, the life tree will activate automatically. You must leave the ship immediately. The energy release will destroy everything within 100 meters. We can't just leave you here alone, Jake protested. You must. If you stay, you will die too, and then who will operate the weapon when the Devourers come? She reached out and took Jake's hand. Her fingers were cold now, but her grip was still firm. Promise me something, she said. When you fire the weapon, when you destroy the hive ship, remember that you are not just fighting for Earth. You are fighting for every world the Devourers have destroyed, every species they have wiped out. You are fighting for the future of life itself. Jake squeezed her hand. I promise. Good. Vera closed her silver eyes. Now go, it is time. Jake looked at his crew. They all knew she was right. They had to leave her here, alone, to die so that billions of others could live. Thank you, he said. We won't forget what you've done, Vera smiled without opening her eyes. I know you won't. That is what makes humans special. You remember. You honor the sacrifices of others. That is why you will win. They left her there, lying on the platform beneath the crystal branches of the life tree. As they walked back through the corridors of her ship, Jake could hear her singing softly in her own language. It was a sad song, but also beautiful, like a lullaby. By the time they reached their shuttle, the singing had stopped. The life tree was beginning to glow brighter, preparing for its one and only use. Jake took one last look at the alien ship before they flew away. In a few minutes it would be destroyed, along with the last member of an ancient and noble species, who had chosen to die for strangers, but her sacrifice would not be forgotten. Jake would make sure of that. Jake Morrison sat in the captain's chair on the bridge of the horizon's edge, staring out at the empty space where Vera's ship had been. 3 hours ago, a brilliant flash of blue light had lit up the darkness as the life tree activated. Now, there was nothing left but glowing particles drifting in the void. The weapon is ready, Captain, Lisa Parker reported from her station. I've been studying the data Vera gave us. The life tree's energy signature is unlike anything we've ever. Scene. It had been 6 months since Vera's death. 6 months of preparation, of sending messages back to Earth, of waiting for the Devourers to arrive. Jake had used that time to study everything Vera had taught them, to understand the enemy they would face. Any sign of them yet? Jake asked. Kate Sullivan checked her sensors. Nothing on long range? But according to Vera's timeline, they should be here soon. The horizon's edge was no longer alone. Earth had sent 12 more ships to join them. At the edge of the solar system, it wasn't much of a fleet, but it was all humanity could manage in such a short time. Each ship carried a crew trained in the new tactics Vera's data had revealed. Sir, Communications Officer Tom Bradley called out, I'm getting a message from Earth Command. Put it through. Admiral Patricia Cole's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. Jake, we're as ready as we can be. The evacuation of the outer colonies is complete. If the Devourers break through, at least Mars and Earth will have time to prepare. Understood, Admiral. We won't let them through. I know you won't. Vera chose the right people to trust. Make her sacrifice count. The communication ended. Jake looked around his bridge at the crew who had become his family over these long months of waiting. They had all changed since meeting Vera. They understood now that they were fighting for more than just Earth. They were fighting for the future of all life in the galaxy. Contact, Kate announced suddenly. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of sensor range. Jake felt his heart begin to race. How many? 12 15 Dontani. Kate's voice grew more concerned. Sir, these ships are huge. Each one is at least 10 times the size of our largest vessel. On the main screen, dark shapes began to appear as the sensors focused on the new arrivals. The Devourer ships looked nothing like human vessels. They were organic, twisted things that seemed to pulse with their own life. They moved through space, like swimming creatures, not mechanical ships. They're heading straight for us, Kate reported. All ships are moving in formation. Jake opened a channel to the rest of the human fleet. All ships, this is Morrison. Remember your training. We hold the line here. We don't let them pass. Voices crackled back from the other ships, acknowledging his orders. 12 human captains, each one ready to die to protect their homeworld. The largest ship is in the center, Lisa observed. That has to be the hive ship Vera told us about. Jake studied the formation on his screen. The hive ship was massive, easily 100 times. Larger than any human vessel? It was surrounded by smaller ships, but even those were bigger than anything Earth had ever built. Range to target? Jake asked. Still too far for the life tree weapon, Lisa replied. We need them to come closer. The Devourer fleet continued its approach. As they got nearer, Jake could see more details of their ships. The hulls seemed to be made of some kind of living material, dark and shifting. Lights pulsed along their surfaces like veins carrying blood. They're trying to communicate, Tom reported. Some kind of transmission. Let's hear it. A sound filled the bridge that made everyone's skin crawl. It was like the buzz of 1,000,000 insects mixed with the screams of the dying. Behind the noise, Jake could make out something that might have been words, but in no language any human had ever heard. Turn it off, Jake ordered. The horrible sound stopped. What do you think they were saying? Kate asked. Probably demanding our surrender, Jake replied. Same thing they've said to every other world they've attacked. The Devourer ships were getting closer now. Jake could see smaller craft launching from the larger vessels, swarming toward the human fleet like angry wasps. All ships, prepare for battle, Jake commanded. Remember, our job is to protect the horizon's edge until we can get a clear shot at the hive ship. The first wave of Devourer fighters reached the human fleet. Jake watched on his screen as his fellow captains engaged the enemy. The human ships were smaller and faster, but the Devourer craft seemed to absorb damage that should have destroyed them. The USS Liberty is in trouble, Kate reported. She's taken heavy damage. Jake could see the Liberty on his screen, her hull torn open in several places. But she was still fighting, still firing at the enemy ships around her. This is Captain Roberts on the Liberty, a voice crackled over the radio. We're going down, but we're taking some of them with us. The Liberty exploded in a ball of fire, taking 3 Devourer fighters with her. Jake felt sick, but he couldn't afford to mourn. Not yet. How much longer until we're in range? He asked Lisa. 2 minutes. The hive ship is almost close enough. More human ships were falling. The USS Courage, the USS Defiance, the USS Hope, each one sold their lives dearly, but the Devourer. Fleet kept coming, Range achieved, Lisa announced. I have a clear shot at the hive ship. Jake looked at the screen. The massive Devourer vessel was right in front of them, so close he could see details of its organic hull. It was beautiful in a terrible way, like a deep-sea creature made of metal and flesh. All remaining ships, Jake announced over the radio. This is it, we're taking the shot, he turned to Lisa. Fire the life tree, Lisa's finger hesitated over the control. Sir, if this doesn't work, it will work, Jake said firmly. Vera believed in us. She gave her life for this moment. Lisa pressed the button. A beam of pure blue light erupted from the horizon's edge. It was the most beautiful thing Jake had ever seen, like a piece of the sky made solid. The beam struck the hive ship's hull and began to spread across its surface. Like fire, for a moment, nothing happened. Then the hive ship began to convulse. The organic hull started to tear apart as the life tree's energy disrupted the living systems that powered it. Lights flickered and died across its surface. It's working, Kate shouted. The hive ship is breaking apart. The massive vessel began to collapse in on itself. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull as internal systems failed. The smaller Devourer ships around it stopped moving as if they had lost all direction. Then, with a flash of light that outshone the nearby stars, the hive ship exploded. The shockwave hit the remaining human ships, rocking them violently. When the light faded, Jake could see that most of the Devourer fleet was gone, destroyed along with their hive ship. The few surviving enemy vessels were fleeing, jumping back into hyperspace as fast as they could. We did it, Kate whispered. We actually did it, Jake slumped back in his chair. They had won, but at a terrible cost. Of the 13 human ships that had started the battle, only 4 remained. So many good people had died to make this victory possible. Tom, open a channel to Earth, Jake ordered. Admiral Cole's face appeared on the screen again. This time she was smiling, tears streaming down her cheeks. Jake, we saw the explosion from here. Tell me you got them. We got them, Admiral. The hive ship is destroyed. The survivors are running. What about Vera's weapon? Jake looked at Lisa, who checked her instruments and shook her head. The life tree is dead, Admiral. It gave everything it had. Then we'd better be ready for when they come back, Cole said. Because they will come back? Jake nodded. We'll be ready. We have Vera's data, her coordinates for the free world. We know how to fight them now. He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the debris field where the Devourer fleet had been. Somewhere in that wreckage was proof that the unstoppable could be stopped, that life could triumph over death. Vera was right, he said quietly. Humans don't give up. We fight, we sacrifice, we remember those who came before us, and we never stop fighting for what's right. Kate joined him at the window. What do we do now? Jake pulled out the crystal. Device Vera had given him. It was still glowing softly, still warm to the touch. Inside it were the coordinates of a world where the last free people of the galaxy waited for news of this battle. Now we go find our new allies, he said. We tell them that Earth stands ready to fight, and we start planning how to take back everything the Devourers have stolen. He looked at the crystal one more time, thinking of the blue-skinned alien woman who had died to give them this chance. Thank you, Vera, he whispered. We won't waste the gift you gave us. Outside the window, the stars shone brighter than ever. Before, each one represented a world that might still be saved, a species that might still be freed. The war against the Devourers was far from over, but for the first time in 300 years, life had struck back, and it had won.